Hello, everybody. Danger Devil, what's if here, and I'm gonna be continuing my part two of What If Deku had an half and half quirk. And if you don't remember where we left off with Izuku Midoriya in his room with a glass of water lying on the bed, manipulating the water and making it into a snowflake, and then changing and then freezing it, and thinking to himself, "Absolute ice, absolute zero, huh?" As he smirks. Now, let's continue the what if. The next day, when Deku went to school, he walked into the class and walked to the teacher and said, "Hey, teach." As he looked down and said, "Yes, Izuku, I finally manifested my quirk." "Really?" And then he said, "Everyone, keep quiet. Izuku finally manifested his quirk." Everyone's like, "Really? What is it? Izuku, please show us." As Deku says, "Okay, teach, can you give me a glass of water?" As the teacher says, "Sure." As he hands Deku a glass of water, as Deku puts it on the floor, as he starts to manipulate the water, turning the water into a rose, and then touch the rose and turning and freezing it into ice. This is my quirk. It's called Absolute Zero. It's an half and half quirk of water manipulation and ice manipulation. As he then melts the ice, turns into water as he makes it into a snowflake as he freezes it again. See? As everyone's saying, "So cool." With that kind of quirk, I bet you could be a cool hero. As most of them said. As Bakugo says, it's not as great as mine. Bakugo says, as one of the kids says, "Well, actually, it is greater than yours." "Huh? What did you say?" "Your quirk relies on being hot and sweaty, while Izuku could cool you down quickly or even splash water on you, making you not be able to use your quirk, meaning that he would eventually win the fight, ending it right there." As all the other kids start to think, you are right about that." As Echo says, "Well, I don't really care about that right now." As he goes to his desk, as he sits down. Now we cut to when Izuku's in the park again, reading a book, as something comes behind him and hugs his neck, as they said, "Guess who?" Wait, those hands, that beautiful voice, that white and red hair. Isn't that you, Shoto? As she's blushing, as she says, "Stop it! Stop teasing me." "And who said I was teasing you?" As he smirks at her, and she says, "Anyway, I thought about what you said yesterday about us training, and I really want to do that. I thought about what you said about me using my fire side, and I came to an agreement that I will train my fire side and not show my father it." "Well, that's good." As from that day forward, for 2 years straight, no, for 3 years, Izuku and Shoto have been training together. Now they're 8 years old. As they sorry guys, have to come back in a little while. See you. Okay, let's continue back to where I left off. So it's been around 4 years, and Izuku and Shoto are now 9 years old. They've been training together. There've been some few mishaps with Shoto almost burning some trees, but Izuku was able to put it out with no problem. Now Izuku and Shoto are walking as they have just finished their training. As this happens, you can see here a villain running around and then going under a bridge, and then he attacks Shoto. He harms her very much, as he had a lightning quirk. As he shocked her body and the lightning started to burn her a little bit. When this happened, Izuku got furious. His eyes went out of control as it encased the villain in ice, as the villain was frozen. Not dead, but frozen. As Izuku went to his knees, as he held Shoto in his arms, as he said, Why? Shoto, please. As he held her up to him, I love you. During these years of them training, Izuku has started to feel that his relationship with Shoto was more than just love. It was more than just friendship, It was love. But what Izuku didn't know is that Shoto also loved him from the very start, from when he saved her from Bakugo. He said, Shoto, please, don't leave me. Not yet. I haven't even told you that I love you. Please. As he brought his head down to hear if her heart was still beating. As he felt that her heart was still beating. As he looked up and saw Shoto open her eyes as she was rubbing his hair. Don't worry, Izuku. I'm not leaving you just yet. As Izuku hugged her right after that and said, please, don't ever leave me again. Please, don't get hurt again. Please. Hey, Izuku, it's fine. I'm just a little bit hurt. It's not like I could die from this anyway. Huh? Don't you see? It was just a little zap. It just numbed my body and gave me a little bruises, that's all. And Suzuku looks at her and sees she's telling the truth. Oh, that's a relief. I hope she didn't, thinking to himself, I hope she didn't hear me say I love you. It could ruin our friendship. And she said, so, what's this thing about you loving me? Well, you see, and right before that, Izuku realized that he was being kissed by Shoto. Okay, guys, I know you guys might be wondering how does she look, so let me give you a picture of what she looks like. This is how she looks right now. Okay, back to the story. As Izuku and Shoto just finished their passionate kiss, and Shoto says, okay now, you dummy, take me to the hospital. Yeah, as Izuku carries her bridal style. Huh? And she blushes a little as he smirks, looking down at her, kissing her forehead, and starts to make an ice path. Here we go. As he's sliding on the ice path, as he gets into the hospital, as he brought her in, telling the doctors what happened. As the doctors take her to a hospital bed, as they do some checkups and say that her body is just a little bit numb, it won't cause any negative effects to her body. She just has to rest for a while. As he understands, as he sits down and holds Shoto's hand as she's just smiling as they talk. About 20 minutes later, you hear someone stamping as the door flies open, as you see Endeavor. Shoto! As he comes in and says, Shoto, what happened? Tell me now. As Shoto says, old man, why should I tell you anything? As he sees this boy sitting next to her bed, holding her hand, and he looks Then he looks up and sees Endeavor, and they meet eye to eye. As Izuku says hi. As Endeavor's just gives him a scowl, and he asks Shoto, "Who is this?" And Shoto says, "None of your concern." As Endeavor says, "Whatever. I came to check on you. What happened? Why would you care about me? All you ever did was push me to the breaking point. So why should I tell you anything?" As Shoto didn't look at Endeavor at all. As Izuku looked up and saw that Endeavor was not angry, but was upset about what he did. Izuku didn't pay any attention to this, as after that, Endeavor walked out of the room and closed the door. Shoto and Izuku thinking that he actually left, but he was just standing by the door, trying to make sure that Shoto was actually safe. As Izuku says, being mean to your old man like that is really not good. She says, I know. Just can't forgive him for what he did last time. Yeah. As they didn't know that Endeavor was actually looking at them, as Izuku holds up her hand, as he kisses it, as he says, "Whatever you say, my lady." You can never stop this, can you? Nope. As he just smirks, as he says, "Well, it's good that you're okay, that I almost lost you." As she looks at him, she can see that he was actually, that he didn't have that same happy face that he always has around her, but had an actual sad face and worried one too. And she says, "I'm sorry for worrying you. I know you. I'm just glad that you're okay. That's all." As the doctor comes in, as Endeavor, as the doctor was coming, Endeavor looked at the doctor and asked the doctor who that kid was. As the doctor said, "Oh, he is one of Miss Todoroki's friends. Seems much more closer than friends." He said, he thought to himself in his head, he was the one who brought her here. He has a half and half quirk, just like Shoto, as Miss Shoto, huh? What is it? It's called absolute zero. Enables him to manipulate ice and water at the same time. Oh, Shoto is ice and fire, ice and water. Perfect counteractor for each other. As Endeavor thought this. Well, just keep me in detail about how Shoto's treatment is. Well, by right now she should be feeling a bit fine. Her body should no longer be numb, so I was about to ask for your permission to discharge her. As he says, "Whatever, just give me the papers and I can sign and get out of here." As the doctor gives him the papers, as he signs it, as he goes, as the doctor walks in and tells Shoto and Deku that she can leave now because the numbing effect of the quirk should have worn out by now. As she moves her body and says, "Yeah, I can feel my body again." As the doctor says, "Okay, your dad already signed the release papers." Wait, wasn't he already gone? No, he was just by the door. He seemed a bit sad. Huh. Shoto said as she thought to herself, "A bit sad. Never mind about that right now. So I can go now?" And she says, "Yes, you can go now." As they're leaving the hospital, the two didn't notice that Endeavor was actually following them. As Izuku said, "Well, that was a frightful scare, I could say." I should have said, yeah, whatever. So, as Jackie holds out his hand, my boyfriend, girlfriend, right? And Shoto says, yes. Sometimes you can be a little bit pushy. This is the one who just pushed herself on me to give me a kiss to stop me from worrying. Deku? Yes? Shut up. Whatever you say. As Endeavor looks and sees that Shoto is not actually mad and is teasing this boy as he thinks, I'm gonna watch them a little bit longer. Okay, as they go back and Deku says, why don't we test if you're back to normal by chaining your quirks? Quirk, okay, as they go back to their training ground, as Endeavor's following, as he says, they've been training together. What have they been training? Okay, come on. As Shoto's both sides, one side in emanating a cold air, as the other side emanating fire. As Endeavor thinks she's using her fire. How? When? Didn't she say that she will never use her fire again? Now let's see how proficient you've gotten with your fire. Come on. As Shoto rushes, making a fire javelin in her hand as she throws it at Zuko, as Zuko makes ice swords appear around him as he says, na na na, as all the ice swords strike and turn into war. As 5 of the ice swords go to Todoroki, as one goes to the javelin, as it turns into water, as they both counteract each other, as they turn into mist, steam. As Shoto dodges the ice swords by creating an ice shield and puts the ice shield down as she rushes for Izuku, as Izuku also rushes, as he envelops his fist with fire, as he envelops his fist with water, as she envelops her fist with fire, as they collide and go on full out brawl with both one fist encased in ice and the other in fire, as he has one fist encased in ice and the other in water, as they are busy punching and fighting. As Izuku starts to make a water and ice sword, as Shoto also makes a fire and ice sword, as they are dual-handed, as they come and start slashing at each other, attacking furiously, as Endeavor thinks to himself, how long have they been training together? As he thinks this, the fight concludes with Shoto's swords, with Shoto holding the hilt of her fire sword, which is only now held since the steam was over, as you see Deku standing on top of her, as he has his ice sword to her neck, saying, still couldn't beat me, could you? As she says, yes, I couldn't beat you. Are you happy now? It says, not really. I still have to receive my prize. Huh? What prize? A kiss from you, of course. She says, come here. As she gives him a kiss on the lips, and it says, see, it wasn't that hard. Okay, if you don't shut up right now, I won't give you kisses anymore. Okay, you can be so mean sometimes. As his Endeavor thinks to himself, he's able to let Shoto use her fire. I have an idea. So, he heard from the doctor, we're doing a flashback, as he heard from the doctor, that boy's name is Izuku Midoriya. As he thinks, Izuku Midoriya, I got the perfect plan. As he goes away, as he calls up, as he asks the doctor for Izuku Midoriya's mother's number, as he calls her and asks if they could have a meeting, as they do. All of this is happening. Izuku and Todoroki go to a public bath, as they take a shower after that intense amount of training. While that's happening, Endeavor and Inko have a meeting. As Inko says, Endeavor, the number 2 hero, why do you want to have a chat with me? You see, my daughter and your son have been training together since a long time ago, and they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and he's able to make her use her fire and eyesight and also help her improve. So I wanted to offer you a deal, an arranged marriage, to say, an arranged marriage, but shouldn't we ask for their permission first? As yes, we will. But then first, I need to ask you if you agree with this. She says, as long as Suki agrees, I have no problem. And he says, okay, I'll draw up the arranged marriage papers and hand them to you as you ask Izuku. As I'll bring Shoto over and ask her, and we'll ask them together. What do you say? But aren't they still 9? Yes. We'll let them only get married when they're 13 or 14. Which one do you choose? I think 14 would be perfect. As she says, as Endeavor nods as he goes back. When this is happening, Izuku was busy bringing Shoto back to her house as he waved her goodbye as he slipped back to his house. As Endeavor came to Shoto and told her that she's going to have an arranged marriage and we're going to have a meeting tonight at a restaurant. She says, but I have a boyfriend. I don't want to. As he said, you're coming with me whether you like it or not. As she looked down as she texted Izuku about what happened. As Izuku just got back home, and his mom told him the same thing, but then he said, I have a girlfriend. As he stormed off to his room, as he told Shoto, as well as they both texted at the same time, showing each other's messages. They both say, so the universe is trying to keep us apart. They both said, as they got mad, as they said to meet at the beach. As both of them escape the house, as they run to the beach, waiting to meet each other, as they sit on the stairs, as they're holding hands, sitting on the bench, looking at the stars, as they both say, but I don't want to get it. Wonder why my mom said I should get an arranged marriage. She would never do something like this. My father would. I know him, just for his perfect little project. She says, as Izuku hugs her, says that he's sorry on what kind of father she has. As she says, it's no problem. I've lived with him my whole life, so I'm already used to it. As she says this, as they both lie down on each other, feeling a bit exhausted after the training and running all the way here, and stressed out about all this arranged marriage, they fall asleep on each other. As when this happens, 4 a.m. in the morning, they are woken up. When they are woken up, they see in front of them Endeavor and Inko. As Zuko says, Mom, I'm never going to get that arranged marriage. You understand? I love Shoto and I don't want to leave her. As Shoto says the same to her father, as they both look at each other and start to laugh, as they both wonder why they're laughing. As Endeavor hands them a arranged marriage paper, as they see arranged marriage, wife Shoto Todoroki, husband Izuku Mitoria. They both look at each other and say, "What? So, we're arranged to marry each other this whole time? Why didn't you start off with that first?" As they both say in secret, and as the parents say, look at each other and say, "Huh, in perfect sync." As Izuku looks at his mom and says, "Why didn't you tell me it was Shoto? We could have avoided this whole mess. You too, Dad. You could have just told me it was Izuku and this problem would have been solved a long time ago." As they both say, "It's because you didn't let us finish. We were about to tell you who you're going to marry, but then you both just stormed off," as they say together. "Oh, is that so? So when exactly are we getting married?" "When you're 14. Right now it's just an arranged marriage," as Endeavor says, as they both look at each other and sigh, as they don't have to leave each other. So now we skip to about 2 weeks later. Endeavor bought Izuku and Shoto a house so that they can further build their relationship together, knowing each other, as well as putting a training ground there in case they wanted to train their quirks. So this has been going on for about, I said they were 9, so 10, 11, 12, for about 3 years, and now it's the start of middle school. Shoto and Izuku always wear their rings because they just feel accustomed to it, because they are supposed to get married. If you want to see how the rings look like, let me show you right here. The one with the diamond is for Shoto, and the one with the blue line going around it is Izuku's ring. That's for the both of them, to show that they are married. Okay. So during middle school, nothing exciting really happened. It was just work, and play. So now let's cut to a few months when Izuku and Shoto are now getting married when they are 14. As they do the marriage, as they say their vows and they kiss each other, ending the seal of them being married. As it's the end of that, as the 10 months of training have started, as Izuku and Shoto are in the house just sitting on the couch together. This is what Izuku's wearing. This is what he's wearing right here, as this is what Shoto's wearing. Over here is the thing which Shoto's wearing, as they both have their arms around each other, as they're just watching TV. So during the 10 months of training, Shoto and Izuku have been trying to perfect their manipulation over their elements, as Shoto's been trying to manipulate her fire to become even hotter, and for a little bit, after 4 months, she was able to make her fire go to blue, but not for long, for about 10 minutes only, as Izuku has been learning how to make his ice even stronger, because he normally uses water to stop a person from moving by controlling the water in their body. His ice has become so strong that it's no more a white color. It's now a dark blue color when using it, but this can also only be used for only about 10 minutes. As they've been practicing with their quirk this whole time, as they think about actually now training their physical body to be able to fight back if someone has a quirk to erase quirks, as they have heard of Shoto Aizawa before from Endeavor, saying that they have to train their body when he came to visit them once. As they not to this, as they start to train their body by working out, as they do not grow muscles like All Might, but they're still slim, but you can see that Shoto is has a little bit of muscle on her and has a six-pack, while Zuko has muscle on him as well as a six-pack, as their stamina has increased dramatically, making them able to use their quirk for much more longer without straining both sides of their body. Okay guys, this is where I'm going to be leaving it off right now, because I've just catched up all the way to the end of the 10 months of training. Next part is where I'm going to be talking about the entrance exam, when the students beat each other, and the heroes versus villains, and the quirk assessment test, So like and subscribe, and thank you for watching this video. See ya.